Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Now this is something that is a bit more on the serious note. This is going to be a video of me covering eugenics, or is it eugenetics, whatever you want to call it. I'll explain what this is shortly if you guys don't mind sticking with me. Now if you are unfamiliar with the topic eugenics or eugenetics, whatever the heck it's really called, you'll know that this video is something that's probably going to seem a bit out there, but please hear me out, as this is being conducted all around the world right now, and I feel like everyone should be informed. Now, if you are not, however, familiar with eugenics, then let me elaborate really quick. Basically, in a nutshell, what eugenics is the belief that by altering a species genetically, whether it be human, plant, or animal, we can get the perfect specimen as man sees it. You know, some kind of weird perfection. Now, for many of us, we can already see the result of this in our everyday lives if you actually take the time to look. Such as going to the store and buying, seedless oranges, or looking at a documentary on National Geographic of a liger, a cross between a lion and a tiger, or even something such as like the pigs. You know how like pigs are like just grown to the point where like they grow so fast that their body can't handle it. You can understand that that is a result of genetic modification if you actually take the time to look into it. So when we look at things, as they are, we see that they are losing the natural use and like the natural state that they were originally in, because people want to believe that it's somehow, best for humanity if they just have a sandbox of animals and just change it around and build whatever the heck they want to with them. Now, I want to get on the grim section a bit, because, if anyone is like a firm believer in eugenics and whatnot, like, I wanna like just elaborate that I do understand that there may seem like there are really useful uses, and I feel like no one really elaborated better on this than a comment that I read about this on a video about eugenics. Now, essentially what this was the video was about the fact that like they were planning on trying to alter animals genetically to the point where like they can grow human organs, right? Now, a father commented this: as a father of a son with organ issues, this is great, as one day my son may soon finally have the normal life like he deserves. Now, I can sympathize with him, like, on an understanding of that's his son. I can't necessarily say that I know what that's like, as I am not a father and I don't, have any children and whatnot. I do, however, know what it's like to have a family member that is affected by something, whether it's like a learning disability or even like, like an issue involving bone joints or organs. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like to a degree you should be able to relate to where this guy is coming from. He's coming from somewhere of likely a long time experience of having to tough it out with his son, in and out the hospital and whatnot. So obviously to this guy, he's going to buy into the fact that, okay, maybe one day we'll get some organs, and like this whole in and out hospital stuff, won't be a factor anymore. My son can live a normal life. But he's completely forgetting the fact that, like, these organs and whatnot are essentially going to be grown into animals. And how is that going to happen? Well, simple. They have to splice, DNA with animal and human. Now, when we really think about that, like, this is seriously changing nature, to the point where like we wouldn't even recognize nature from something man-made. It's hard enough these days to like actually look at some certain products and decide, is that wood or is that like some kind of synthetic crap? So you're essentially toying with nature to the point where like even the animals, we won't be able to decipher the difference between if it's, just natural or man-made within a while. Or how about the fact that in order to change the composition of the animal, like you need to apply human genetics to the thing. So then the question becomes like, where does that human gene come from? Is that from someone that's offering willingly, or is that something like people taking advantage of the fact that there's like sperm and eggs and whatnot? Where's that human DNA and human genetics coming from, right? And this doesn't even begin to get into the issue of the fact that like you're creating a creature that can either be an animal that's a bit too human or a human that's a bit too animal. Now, whether it's an animal with too much human or a human with too much animal, this is really bad either way, as the ethical issues really start to come into play. Like, if the animal started borrowing from human traits, right? Do we just ignore the fact that, like, that could potentially be, like, a human trapped in an animal's body? I know that, like, in our culture, like, I don't want to trigger anyone, but, like, we have a lot of people saying, oh, I'm a man stuck in a woman's body, or I'm a woman stuck in a man's body. Well, how in the heck would you, like, go about a freaking human being stuck in a freaking animal's body when you really want to, like, think about it? Like, how would you even begin to go about that? Like, you can claim, like, a lot of these social people, like, you can claim, oh, well, we'll just identify it as a person, but remember, like, this is a freaking creature cooked up in a lab, for goodness sakes. They're gonna try and, like, not give it any rights, so you have to think about it. And then we take into the consideration, like, maybe it's a human and it's borrowing from the animal, like, if it's, like, it's some organ issues or whatnot, and, like, they receive an organ grown in an animal, and they start, like, borrowing from that animal's traits. If that person is altered mentally and emotionally by the animal, I'd say that it would really be like the fault of the lab coats and the so-called parents, because like they were in on this, and this kid didn't get a say in how they were going to be born, or if they were going to have, like, animal splicing genetics and whatnot. So if that developed into psychological issues later on in life, or physical issues, like, I'd say that, like, we'd really have to, like, blame, like, these lab coats and stuff. Now, I'm certain that they're going to try and have something to where, like, you sign a contract saying you're not allowed to sue us or whatever, but, there's a lot that goes into this that people aren't really giving a second thought. And my main concern really is the fact that you're going to be creating creatures and whatnot that could either be too human, or humans that are like way too close to animal. And obviously, since they're, like, created, like, people are gonna try and, like, act as if they don't have rights and whatnot. And frankly, I just feel like that's wrong, because, like, if you're like the result, right, of, like, some freaking human animal hybrid splicing, if you're stuck in, like, an animal's body and it's like you've got way more intelligence than the average animal, like, that's not your fault. Like, that was just some freaking guy, like, trying to play creator, and then he makes some abomination, and now you're stuck in that animal's body. And, like, some people say, oh, well, then maybe we should just kill it, but at the same time, like, that's... There's a lot that's wrong with that as far as I'm concerned, And once again, like, getting back to the father, I can understand that, like, he's really looking at the quote-unquote good that's going to come from this, but, like, when we really want to stop and think about it, like, the organ stuff and, like, growing organs and bones and tissues and whatnot, like, it's not going to stop there. Like, before you know it, you're going to have, instances of like where people are just trying to say, all right, well, let's just have the animals doing everything for us, to the point where we're just having kids being born like in outside of animals' wombs. Like, just imagine having like a cow or a pig for a mother. You know what I mean? Like, just think about like what these people are trying to do. You know, like, we can't just keep sitting back here and blinding ourselves to these issues. You know, like, I'll say this, folks, like, you know, like, we're not always going to see what we want to see or what we need or what, like, we want to hear, but sometimes we need to hear what we have to hear, and we need to see what we have to see. Now, no matter how difficult it may seem, we have to look at the complete picture here, and we can't afford to get caught up in emotions. And once again, my heart does go out to that father from, you know, a son suffering from issues with the organs, and he's really looking at, like, you know, the benefits that, you know, eugenics can have, but you can't just make a decision like solely based on personal experience and emotions. You have to look at the complete picture before you make that decision. I know that it may sound hard for people, especially like the father I keep mentioning, but once you open like the box, like, you know, it's not going to be as if, you know, all you'll get out of like that random mystery box of food is like, you know, like the really good tasting sweets. You might get something there that's not too pleasant tasting. And as far as eugenics, yeah, there's probably going to be, you know, some pros about it. There's probably going to be some benefits that people could use, but there's also going to be quite a few bitter tasting things that will leave everyone with a very foul taste in our mouths. There are just a laundry list of issues on the subject that we have to look over, and I'd advise you personally, like, you know, do your diligence, do your own research, look into eugenics. Like, these people, this isn't like conspiracy theory stuff. I know, like, when people hear stuff like this, they're like, oh, conspiracy theory. Like, no, like, people are genuinely planning on like making hybrid animals and trying to use that as a way to like grow the organs and whatnot. But there's a lot of ethical reasons that I just feel like that's wrong and whatnot, so I really felt like I needed to make a video on this, and I really want you to look into this yourself, because you shouldn't just trust anyone, no matter who they are, as like just a true source of information. Look at it yourself and look into it, because before you know it, like, you know, this is going to be all over. And you can think it's not happening, but it's happening right now. It's just in a smaller stage. So, and that's just in like the public view. So who knows what's going on behind the scenes, and, you know, how deep we've already gotten into that. So with that being said, that is going to bring my topic on eugenics to a close. I do hope that you guys enjoyed. I know that this seems like it's out of nowhere, but this is a great topic for Wake Up People, and this series is really going to be me doing my best to try and expose like some really messed up crap going on behind the scenes to people, and I really want people to like start thinking about this stuff and doing their own research, because it's a crazy world we live in, boys and gals. It's a crazy world. Now, just want to let you all know that since YouTube is censoring content on its platform, and they may even take this video like as a conspiracy theory, since like I didn't necessarily, I guess, talk enough about like where they're doing this or whatnot. But please, if you want to see these videos, do subscribe and hit that bell, as it is the only way to see videos in your feed. Also, just want to let you all know that I have an Animo, oh my gosh, excuse me, an Animo linked in the description in the comments. You know, feel free to check that out, as I do, you know, take video requests, and any topic that you guys really would like me to go over or even research. Like, don't worry, I'll do my research and whatnot, so don't hesitate to request. As always, rate the video what you think it deserves. Tell me what you'd like to see in the future in the comments below, and I will see all of you in the next video. Take care, and wake up.